Every worker and student to be given a €100 check. A father and son protest outside of Parliament after a benefits drop. And importing cargo to Malta is now 6 times more expensive. All this and more on today's episode of Lovin Daily. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. I'm Julian Bonnici. Joining me today is Paula Kauki. Good afternoon. Got another action-packed episode for you today. Nowhere else to start but from the really big announcement Prime Minister Robert Abela made this morning. So if you weren't following, every worker and student in Malta will receive a €100 check at home, while pensioners and people on social benefits will receive €200. Speaking in a press conference, Robert Abela said, this is a cash injection in the economy to generate economic activity. And now he sort of added, the government has now given everyone a €100 voucher twice during the pandemic to help particular sectors that desperately need this money. The scheme is over and above the annual tax refund scheme, which is also set to be extended next year, with refunds sort of ranging anywhere between €60 and €140. Abela was quite bullish during the press conference, saying, we will be your shield against the pandemic, and we will be the government that incentivizes, not punishes people. And meanwhile, Finance Minister Clyde Caruana, who was also present in the press conference, said the scheme was only launched because the performance of the Maltese economy exceeded the government's forecast. Actually sort of hinting, that they're expecting a deficit in 2021 of roughly 11.1%. Now they hopefully think it's going to go down to 8.1%. Now the move, while I'm sure many people have been happy about, has actually resulted in some criticism out there. As we all know, an election is going to come this year, latest roughly about June 2022, as Robert Abela has said. Many people think this is sort of another attempt to sort of sweeten the deal, sort of buy some votes ahead of what is going to be effectively Robert Abela's first ever time going to the polls.
Fil-fatt dan huwa kollox injezzjoni ta' €70 miljun, daw iċ-ċekkiet ser jammontaw għal €70 miljun, huma għad-differenza tal-affarijiet li rajna s-sena l-għaddiet, kellna vouchers fejn kellhom jintużaw illum tagħna flus, ġifieri l-elezzjoni ma kienx ġejja s-sena l-oħra minn taw l-ewwel jew it-tieni round tal-vouchers, din id-darba ovvjament qegħdin noqorbu allura ma nistax nifhem allura x'jagħmel wieħed viċin elezzjoni ma jagħtix ifrus lin-nies, ġifieri ovvjament ġennata. Però nifhem li mossa bħal din ma tinżilx tajjeb mal-oppożizzjoni lejliet elezzjoni. L-appell tiegħu jekk hemm min per prinċipju ma jridx dan iċ-ċekk jagħmel tajjeb u jagħti donazzjoni lill-NGO favorita tiegħu biex bekk xorta kulħadd igawdi u kulħadd iżomm dal-prinċipju tiegħu li ma jiċċettax iċ-ċekk għax viċin elezzjoni. Issa naraw kemm actually ikun hemm donations, good luck to you. U qed nitkellmu fuq flus u għajnuna finanzjarja lill-familji, fil-fatt l-għajnuna finanzjarja bħalissa naħseb kulħadd qed jieħu pjaċir biha fid-dawl illi l-affarijiet isiru iktar għalin u dalgħodu waqt TVAM Marcel Mizzi li huwa deputat President ta' Chamber of SMEs spjega proprju għaliex l-affarijiet qegħdin jolgħu. Jidher illi fejn qabel cargo container kien jiswa mal-2000 sa 3000 euro biex jiġi importat f'pajjiżna, tal-istess container illum il-ġurnata qed jiswa ma' 17,000 euro biex jiġi importat. Ovvjament dawn l-ispejjeż iridu jiġu riflessi fil-prezzijiet ta' affarijiet li jiġu importati. Fejn hawnhekk is-Sur Mizzi qiegħed jgħid illi l-affarijiet jistgħu sa jitilgħu għal 5 darbiet iktar mill-prezz oriġinali tagħhom proprju minħabba l-ispejjeż tax-shipping. U spjega li din il-żieda fil-prezz tax-shipping ilha ġejja akkumulazzjoni ta' ħafna affarijiet fil-fora internazzjonali fosthom bdiet bil-ħabib tagħna Donald Trump, għadna tinbagħtu l-konsegwenzi ta' Donald Trump fejn meta kien għamel jekk niftakru daqsxejn is-sanzjonijiet fuq iċ-Ċina, komplet meta kien hemm il-famuż Suez Canal imweħħel għal ġimgħa, il-COVID kompla jżid fuq u b'dawn l-akkumulazzjonijiet kollha spiċċajna din l-oli tal-ħajja. Ovvjament, aħna bil-forsi jiġu bil-kargo bil-baħar m'hemmx mod ieħor, ġifieri din hija raġuni spiegata maħseb mill-iktar mod ċarmant Marcel Mizzi għaliex qegħdin jolew l-affarijiet.
Obviously, this all comes at a time as the cost of living is sort of rising around Malta, going to a shop, going to a restaurant, everything is getting more expensive. And, as Paula just explained, a big part of it has got to do with cargo, we're part of a globalized world. Malta as an island really depends on sea travel, air travel. It's really hard to get goods over here. And obviously now we're paying the price for it, with the lack of a better term. There's a really interesting Vox Pop Lovin Malta conducted to see just sort of how everyday people are handling the rising costs. Be sure to check it out. And if you've got any other opinions on the matter, please leave a comment below. On to our next story, from rising costs to a drop in benefits, I suppose. A father and son are protesting outside Malta's parliament after his parental benefits were reduced from €480 per month to €48 per month. Joining his son outside of Parliament, they attached placards to the building. One said, my name is not Georgia May Abela, that's the daughter of Prime Minister Robert Abela. My father does not have an extra €17,000 per month. In the meantime, this government reduced my father's social benefits from €480 per month to €48 per month. It continued to say, during the best time ever, you need to raise your son with just €48 a month. Shame on the Liberal government. Now, the father and son will continue protesting today in front of Parliament and will actually go out in front of Castile tomorrow. Now, it should be made clear, we don't really know as of yet what the father's actual situation is, how he's ended up in a situation like this. Questions have been sent to the Ministry for Family to get to the bottom of it. However, it is a worrying sign. Nobody really likes to see a father and son sort of in this sort of troubling situation. And I'd hope at least, maybe their situation and many others could be addressed shortly.
I look forward li naraw is-sitwazzjoni ta' dan ir-raġel li hija pjuttost anomalija li jekk da tilef xogħol u tilef l-impjieg u spiċċa bla introjtu. Ġeneralment l-allowances mhux jonqsu imma jiżdiedu, ġifieri kif naqsu drastikament sinjali kien hemm xi bidla fl-inkam tal-missier, apparti mill-prinċipju li jiena ma nemminx illi huwa xogħol il-gvern li jtik il-benefiċċju biex trabbi tfal. Il-gvern jassistik minħabba li tal-ħajja iva, imma jekk ġib it-tfal fid-dinja titqis jekk għandekx il-mezzi biex tgħixhom bil-flejes tiegħek. Li nispera li t-tifel mhux qed jitlef skola biex jipprotesta ma' missieru quddiem il-Parlament u kif jaħassret quddiem il-Parlament li ħfef ħaġa jaqsam it-triq hemm il-Ministeru għas-Sigurtà Soċjali jitkellem ma' xi ħadd u jikkalkulawlu forsi hemm xi benefiċċji li mhux japplika għalihom li jista' japplika għalihom. Ġifieri importanti li wieħed ikun jaf fejn għandu il-bibien li għandu jħabbad biex ikun jaf għal xiex inhu intitolat biex bekk il-fatti jkunu ċari għal kulħadd. Neqilbu l-istorja kompletament wara il-bira ħnejna xejn ta' kommozzjoni fil-Parlament għaliex l-Onorevoli Claudette Buttigieg semat il-kelma aħba fil-Parlament li allegatament intqalet mill-Onorevoli Rozjen Kutajjar u nqala pandemonju sħiħ fuq il-kelma min intqalet għal min kellha tkun. Insomma, il-ġist kien li m'għandekx tuża dan il-kliem fil-binja tal-Parlament għasek qed titkellem fuq kelba. Jider li Rozjen Kutajjar komplet l-istorja llum fejn għamlet status qalet isma' jiena inni 10 snin niġi attakkata minn nies li sabu rifuġju kien fil-Partit Nazzjonalista u l-Oppożizzjoni hija qed tgħid ossessjonata biha. Jiena meta nara daw ix-xenati fil-Parlament, apparti li tinħela ħin prezzjuż fejn qegħdin nilletikaw fuq affarijiet li tillettika fuqhom naħseb fil-break tal-iskola konna, inħoss li jeħef f'dawn is-snin, il-kliem dispreġġattiv li jintuża viżavi nies li forsi qas għandek idea min huma personalment imma nwadbu l-aġġettivi żomm passizzi, kemm fuq social media u anke issa fl-istituzzjonijiet tal-pajjiż, nżilna t-triq tan-niżla ta' xejn, hemm bżonn ta' iktar rispett fil-kliem ta' kif nitkellmu ma' xulxin. Nistgħu ma naqblux x'inhu ġuri ma nġar fejn nibbattu. Sewwa.
Mhux hekk, I mean, there are so many things we don't agree on. We talk about so many things. I've never been rude to each other. It's fine to disagree, you know. But really and truly, I know people were a bit shocked by the words being used, but really should come as no surprise. We see how politicians speak to each other. We see the kind of discourse they have with one another. Hopefully, an episode like this will teach them not only to respect the parliamentary floor, but to respect each other. You know, people out there look up to MPs, you know, so to see actually, you know, MPs talk to each other, debating a subject without shouting at each other, swearing at each other, using rude words, whatever, would be a real nice change for everyone to see.
Fil-verità ħafna minnhom ikunu ħbieb u l-kamera ma taqbadx li jkunu membri mill-ġixnaħat jieħdu kaffè flimkien iparlaw. Naħseb il-kamera tal-Parlament imisshom jaqduhom dawn il-mumenti biex dak li jkun jifhem li tista' tkun l-ikbar ħabib ta' xi ħadd biex miegħek m'hemmx għalfejn titgħajjar. Għandna bżonn nitalmuha mhux il-politiċi biss kulħadd.
Hopefully everyone out there you're listening, it's a really important lesson and hopefully things will change. On to our last story, a little bit of fun over here. I'm sure you've all been seeing a typo-riddled pulled quote from Malta's in-flight magazine BITZILLA, making the rounds on social media over the last few days. However, the national airline has just come out to say, you know, listen, it actually appeared in an edition that was over 5 years old. Basically, they released a statement today saying, you know, this edition was from January 2017. The image started making the rounds of Maria Frendo, a lecturer in the Department of English at the University of Malta, flagged the typos, which included, you know, misspelling words like realize as realize, angels as angles, among a host of other things. What's really important to note out there, everyone, is the editorial staff since then has actually completely changed, with BITZILLA's executive editor Dana Camilleri-Clark saying it's a pity that a screenshot from an old edition has resurfaced and people are starting to think it's coming out from nowadays. Obviously, this all comes when there are serious questions about the BITZILLA magazine, while Malta is sort of struggling financially. Personally, whether it was today or 5 years ago, the typos are still quite ridiculous. It's a shame everyone took 5 years to pick up on it, right? If they were so bad. You know, obviously, thankfully, the editorial staff has changed, but, you know, it was actually quite funny to see that kind of misspelling. I don't know what you thought about it all, Paula.
Le, fimni, kiku għadna nikdbu l-affarijiet bil-notepad, naħseb anka notepad illum il-ġurnata jtilla l-ek il-linja l-ħamra, ta' fi, ġifiri vera t-tiprofa biex tiħu zbal illum il-ġurnata u ma t-dix kas il-spell checker, imma di l-edizzjoni ħarġet, issa nisperaw li min għamel dal-izbal f'dal 5 snin improvi għal-autografija tijaw biex l-affarijiet ma jisirux, having said that, bil-lider anka BITZILLA magazine minkejja li kienem attakki li huwa extra expense, agent li qal li extra expense, milli jidher iċċaraw ukoll illi l-Malta tagħmel flus mir-riklami ta' BITZILLA magazine ġifieri. U għaliex le, I mean, jkollok xtrax tagħmel jekk ma mhux qed tara xi film. Imma noqogħdu naqra attenti u llum il-ġurnata hawn il-lussu kollu tad-dinja m'għandekx għalfejn tiftaħ id-dizzjonarju biex tiċċekkja kelma sewwija nammetti tal-mistħija.
And as an editor myself, I feel both sides of the divide. So that's it from us for tonight. And as always, have an evening full of love.
Ciao.